Welcome to the DC Life Uncensored, presented by the Fight Shop New Mexico, International Strategic Partners, and Damage Control. I'm your host, Micah Frankel of CageMinds.com, and we're going to get started with this enormous show. We got two guests from this week's Bellator 164. We got a local heavyweight boxer joining us. We got to preview the Mecca. Oh my God, it's finally here, UFC 205. But before we get into all of that, we're going to start off with last weekend's results, and we'll start off with Bellator 163. On the prelims, a lot of shakeup, a lot of change throughout this card. Well, before we get to the prelims, there was the shakeup, there was the change. A rough weight cut causes Paul Daley to have to pull out of facing Derek Anderson the day of the fight. Bad luck for Paul Daley. Marlos Kunin, also misfortune for her opponent as Taliana Nogueira misses weight, so Kunin unable to return and get back in the win column off of the loss to Alexis DeFrey. So back-to-back opponents missing weight for Kunin. This time she would not accept the fight. The prelims, we did get to see the long-awaited mixed martial arts debuts of Ed Ruth and Terrell Fortune. Both guys, highly touted wrestling prospects, tested their striking, felt it out a little bit on the feet. When they felt they got in trouble, they relied on their wrestling, ground and pound, TKOs. Fortune, the big heavyweight, added in vicious knees from the wrestling right, hammered out big TKO wins for both top prospects, considered members of the Bellator's Fab 5 of wrestling products, of which Bellator added another recent young signing of a two-time Division II wrestling champion. So Bellator planting seeds in developing talent as they want to develop stars, and not really a sport, but a star-based system to give them some people that the rest of the country would want to watch. But again, a great start, as expected, to both of those young men's careers. Now, starting off the main card, you did it with a bang. One big overhand right, and underdog Javi Ayala pulls the upset, knocking out 30-plus fight Russian veteran Sergey Karatanov. Karatanov was literally convulsing, and it was quite the scary scene as Ayala pulls off the huge upset, biggest win in his career. Also, due to all these injuries and changes, Neiman Gracie Rudy Bears was pushed up to the main card. Bears gets armbarred in the first round. Towards the end, Gracie Neiman putting together his mixed martial arts game, tested out a little more on the feet. When it got a little dangerous, got the clinch, got it to the ground, got the win. In a very interesting, entertaining welterweight co-main event, they went in to go to war. They went in to slug it out, and it was a left hook from Brendan Ward that spelled the end of the night in the first round for Seattle Wad. Brendan Ward rebounding nicely from that leg lock loss to Cyborg Santos, able to keep it standing, banged it out, showed off his boxing. Awad, great guest of our show several times. Not the biggest guy. He does have the advantage of fighting at lightweight and welterweight. Not the biggest, hugest guy. Can't stand in there and trade with some of these big guys. More power at 170 for Ward. Awad can do that at 155 pounds, but at 170, he has to be more tactical, more head movement, more bobbing, weaving, in and out. We go up to the main event, and it was total domination. Take it to the ground, and just ground and pound. Make your way to mount. Liam McGarry, too comfortable on his back. Got too used to submitting guys. Couldn't imagine seeing Phil Davis get submitted. And Phil Davis put Liam McGarry through the cleaner, put it on him, beat him up, made an example of him, and new Bellator light heavyweight champion, Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis, did it in impressive fashion. And again, I'm going to say it, a very light, very weak division. Phil Davis, the king of that division there in Bellator, but challengers are few and far to come by. That was Friday night. Also Friday night, You had CES up in Massachusetts. The main event, William Santiago Jr. training down here at the Jackson Wink Academy. ducked, one big overhand right between the eyes, and lights go out. Cold Steel, Chuck O'Neal, down on the canvas, the Brown Bomber with a big win. Now we transition over to Saturday, where Glory Kickboxing was in Nice, France. Couple big takeaways from that one. You see Artem Vahitov coming back off an injury to score 3 knockdowns of Zach Muikasa. You beat a boxer up in the legs, and then you're able to open him up. A big win for the Russian, cementing himself as the Glory light heavyweight champion. The third knockdown was kind of funny as Muikasa tried to throw a side kick after a knockdown, getting punched, not being able to find his legs. 3 knockdowns within the first round. Benjamin Adabui wins the Glory heavyweight tournament for the 3rd time. He is now the #1 contender. This time it's a little different. 2 decision wins, but Adabui will now be taking on his training partner, Rico Verhoeven. Verhoeven and him were enemies twice. Now they become training partners. They will once again be opponents. But first, come December 10th, Rico Verhoeven has Badahari. You can see that on UFC Fight Pass. The biggest kickboxing card of all time, where you will see also Ishmael Lant in a heavyweight bout, Nikki Holtzkin defending his title, the crowning of the first ever Glory Women's Champion. That's all coming. Glory Collision in Germany, December 10th, with the greatest heavyweight kickboxing fight that could possibly be made. And one more reminder for you guys, go to cageminds.com. We got your Bellator 163, your Glory 35, and also from Saturday night, your UFC Fight Night 98 quick results, all up at cageminds.com. What do we take away from UFC Fight Night 98? Well, from the Fight Pass prelims, Sam Alvey can cause you to brawl, still with a big chin, battles back from adversity of the first round of Alex Nicholson, literally kicking him from every angle, keeping it at distance, to fight forward, to land big hard punches, to steal the 2nd and 3rd round, and Alvey to walk away with the decision, I believe now on a 3-fight win streak. Continuing on a win streak from the FS1 prelims, Eric Perez, Felipe Aranches, almost as exciting as I had predicted, not quite the fight of the night. Timely takedowns. Eric Perez also withstanding bad positions in the 3rd round, able to fight back, get a unanimous decision win. Big ups to him. On the main card, you saw Alexa Grasso use her striking, put her hands together, not show dominant, but do enough to win. Look good in doing so, damaging up, bloodying, and bludgeoning Heather Clark's face, blood running down. Didn't find the finish. Grasso, living up to the hype, was able to withstand the pressure of the moment, and again, did let her hands, which are the best part of her game, shine through, causing damage, stuffing takedowns. A very good debut for the very talented prospect out of Mexico. Beneil Dariush was able to implement his game plan, not blow out of the water, but consistently beat to the punch and score the timely takedowns against Rashid Magomedov. You saw a Martin Bravio win the TUF Season 3 Latino Championship, TKO by punches. A young man's going to be dropping down a weight class. Be interesting to see what his cardio is like as we see toughness and technique in his boxing. Featherweight, you saw Ricardo Lamas put on the grind, and then with a guillotine, cement Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, the very talented Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, has too much confidence down in his ground game. 2nd consecutive fight, allowing his head to get trapped in a guillotine, not being able to outlast the choke, and having to tap. Anthony Pettis and Ricardo Lamas have both done it. Oliveira, this, you could tell he was dejected, demoralized, and not to mention, I believe this was a 4th time missing weight, probably heading back up to lightweight. A horrible experience for him, and possibly heading towards the unemployment line. I know that Bellator likes to pick up guys that the UFC let go, but I think that Charles Oliveira really needs to assess where he wants to go in this game. In the co-main event, Diego Sanchez and Marcin Held. Marcin Held did win for my part. The stand-up game was beating Sanchez to the punch. Did hurt him on the feet once or twice, but when taking it to the ground, was ineffective at winning the scrambles, at substantiating or getting control of a position. The scrambles were won by the better wrestler, Diego Sanchez. Marcin Held. His bread and butter is the leg locks, a lot of yoga, and a very long grappling and jiu-jitsu background. This was a perfect fight for Sanchez, and he fought perfectly in it, taking it the unanimous decision. The Nightmare, not done yet, very appreciative after the fight for the career that the UFC has given him. And also, this was a great performance for the Nightmare in beating a young up-and-coming prospect who, I gotta be quite honest, was the favorite in this fight. I thought he would have the advantages, keeping it standing and maybe working him some grappling at some random points, jumping on a leg lock, but he was too determined, and it looked like too taken by the moment, taken back by it or overwhelmed by it, to really fight as technically as he could. Sanchez winning the scrambles, winning the grounding pound, staying out of the leg locks. A big win for Diego. The main event, Rafael dos Anjos coming back off the injury, moving his camp, so many questions, and a lot of them were answered by Tony Ferguson. Ferguson got hit with some big shots and showed a world-class chin. He also, in my breaking down of this fight, we knew that both guys had a Thai kicking style and that Ferguson uses Thai elbows, but I thought his actual hands are much more of a boxing stylist, and that proved to be the key because too much of Dos Anjos' RDA striking is Muay Thai based. In that I mean that, like a true Muay Thai technician, he does not move his head off the center line after combinations or with his defense. That is the difference, and that is what led from the boxing jab of Ferguson to beating up the right eye and the nose of Dos Anjos, causing blood, causing damage, and consistently doing so. Also, it was Ferguson continuing to use his leg kicks with his combinations. As I said, there is an essence of Muay Thai to kickboxing of his striking, but that he uses a much more boxing-centric style in the shoulders and in the head with his hands. Also, though, incorporating those Muay Thai elbows. A complete performance for Tony Ferguson. Across the board, the refs had it 48-47 times 3. I'm thinking that Dos Anjos was given the first round and the third round, the second, fourth, and fifth, controlled by Ferguson. He wasn't able to get the fight to the ground, but did have several interesting attempts at rolling for leg locks, jumping on his butt, kind of doing a crab walk. Tony Ferguson has definitely put a statement on where he belongs in this division. He's currently ranked as the number 1 ranked challenger. The big money fight that we're going to be talking about, UFC 205, couldn't be more excited to see UFC in New York. But the crap that McGregor is getting a title fight, this was supposed to be Khabib Nurmagomedov's fight. For more importantly, the fact that his 8-fight win streak earned it. The definite 9-fight win streak of Tony Ferguson's has earned this. Jose Aldo has earned a title fight, and there's only so many places that if McGregor wins that he could go, and those guys don't deserve to be torn apart by the entertainment value of this supposed industry. Can't even call it a sport anymore when we're harping on the entertainment value. But Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor, the winner of this week's fight, definitely has 2 substantial challengers. Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Someone's going to get a title fight, and the other one will most likely end up with a date with possibly Nate Diaz or Edson Barbosa. Also, for Tony Ferguson's money, though, Michael Johnson can end all this. UFC 205 again on the prelims. Nurmagomedov Johnson, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But for all you would think, sportsly thinking, Ferguson is a Johnson fan because a Johnson win gives Ferguson the winner of Alvarez McGregor, or at least whoever walks away with that lightweight title. On the other side, Nurmagomedov with the 8-fight win streak, you got to feel for the guy. He has more than a chance to win. He could earn himself a title fight. But again, we need to talk about that and UFC 205 coming up in a minute. One more time, all those results from what we've just discussed, you can find them up at cageminds.com. We did our results again from Bellator Glory and UFC Fight Night. When the DC Life Uncensored returns, we're going to get to the interviews this week. Our guest, Douglas Lima and Georgi Karakhanyan, when the DC Life Uncensored returns.
We're a dental laboratory that specializes in protective mouth guards for all sports. With the input and collaboration of professional athletes, dentists, and chemical engineers, Damage Control offers protection that is up to 417% greater than the competition, and a great fit that will make you forget you're even wearing a mouth guard. UFC champions, professional bull riding champions, and Mr. Olympian champions. These are athletes that depend on us for the ultimate protection. It's the most comfortable, most protective, and best fitting mouth guard. Breathe better, feel better, play better with the Damage Control mouth guard.
The Fight Shop New Mexico in the Montano Plaza Shopping Center, located off Coors and Montano.
Welcome back to the DC Life Uncensored, and right now we have a guest joining us. He's in the main event of Bellator 164, looking to become a two-time Bellator welterweight champion. Douglas Lima, thank you for the time. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. You get to main event the first Bellator in Israel. So what kind of honor do you feel that is, main eventing another overseas show?
Feel really good. You know, like you said, feel honored, being headlining such a big show and also fighting for the belt. Very exciting. Can't wait. Can't wait for the fight. Ready to put a great performance for everybody.
Last time you weren't yourself due to injury. How much do you look back at that fight to learn from what Korshakov did? Or do you not really look back at that video because you weren't yourself?
Yeah, man, I really don't even like watching that fight, not just because I wasn't myself, it's just the performance, It was a terrible fight, I wasn't able to do anything. I thought it was really boring, but definitely past that. I already learned what I had to, during that first fight, and right now I'm just looking forward to this one. Training's been great, camp has been great, I'm ready, and I can't wait.
Now, talking about your camp a little bit, what is it like having your brother there and you two being able to push each other and having been sparring partners for so long? What's that relationship like and having him there with you?
Love it, man. Love it. It's my best training partner that I have, in all of my camps. Help each other. We grow together. We keep better together. And, man, it's just great. I'm blessed, to be training with a brother, similar age, similar size. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to see him succeed as well, So we just help each other every day.
Now, with the camp, do you do anything to prepare differently for this fight with the time change than if you were fighting here in the States?
No, really, man. I don't like changing, the times of sleep and stuff like that. I don't think it really matters. I just try to sleep a lot when I get there, get what I want, and cut the weight. That never changed. I don't think it will this time as well, because last time I fought in England was the same way, same time difference, and that didn't really make any difference. So really concentrated just on the fight, making weight, and we go from there.
Now, there was the bad performance, there was the injury, there was a lot of stuff with the first loss to Korshakov. What did it take mentally to get prepared then for England and for the fight with Daly?
Just being able to come back, from an injury like that, and fight such a high caliber fighter and being able to control him for 3 rounds, it's really great. I just feel really good. It just shows, not just myself but everybody that I'm back 100%. Because it was a long layoff. All those 2 years dealing with those injuries. Kind of made me stronger. Mentally. Just know that I'm able to go through all that. The fight is easy. So I'm just happy to come back with such an important win like that over Daly.
Coming off injuries, has that changed up any of the way that you train?
Yeah, try to be a little more careful, but we can't really change much. The only thing that I changed in my camp, lately was the less sparring. I'm not sparring as much as I used to do it. I know a lot of guys have been doing that. I feel good with it, man. I don't want to bang my head too much in training. I already do that with the wrestling, the ground, and it's definitely been helping. Go to the fight a little more fresh. It's big. But the training is always hard. It doesn't matter if you get injured, you get injured. It's just the way we train. We got to prepare ourselves, and I'm just hoping for no more injuries. That's the only thing that I hope for.
In that last fight, when you look back at the Daly fight, do you really feel it was just a great overall performance? Because we got to see so many of your skills. You were able to counter strike early on to get a big knockdown. You went forward and used a combination to get a knockdown later on. You did beat up the legs, even showed off takedowns. So when you look back at it, overall, was that just a very accomplished fight because you showed off so many skills?
Definitely, yes. Really wish I could have get the finish though. But he was good, man. Daly's just a tough guy. He didn't want to be taken out in his own town, So he stood there and took a lot of punishment and kept coming forward the whole time. So, man, the main thing was getting the win. Like you're saying, showing off a little bit of everything of my game. It's very important win for myself. Not just for my career, but for me as well, personally. He's a game. He's a veteran. He's been in the game for a long time. I was really happy to beat him the way I did.
Definitely, that's a big moment for you, taking out another named guy, and now looking to regain your title. What do you feel is your biggest advantage in this rematch with Koreshkov?
Man, my advantage is just being able to train everything, just going there at 100%. For me, that's an advantage right there. Man, he's a tough guy. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's good everywhere as well. So, I'm just looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be very entertaining, very excited. Pretty much two guys at the prime going at it, So, man, looking forward to a great explosive fight.
So if you were talking to the fans right now, you would say this is the reason to get excited about the fight. The biggest thing is last time I was not able to train, last time I was injured. This time it's been a great camp.
Pretty much. It's been a great camp. It's been a great camp, and I was able to train for everything, for the ground, the wrestling, the striking. And, I'm ready to go. This time I'm ready to fight him wherever the fight takes place. And trust me, it's going to be it's going to be a good one.
And then now also with Bellator, there's been a lot of people moving around weight classes, talking about money weight, moving around. I know you're focused in on your title fight, but could you see yourself in the future possibly venturing back up to middleweight?
Definitely. I think that every day, especially when it gets closer to the fight, especially when I get close to 170, that's the time that I really want to go to 185. But, it's like they say, I'm really concentrating on this fight right now at 170. So after this, we'll see what happens. But, if they give me a 185 fight in January or February, I'll take it, no problem. But let's see what the future waits for me.
After the fight, you get back home. What is it that you're going to go eat?
Man, I'm just looking forward to some pizza, sushi, Chipotle, all of this good stuff. definitely pizza though. Right after the fight, I know there's a Domino's pizza there in Israel. I already looked it up, and that's the place I'm going right after the match.
With the years that you've been, with the time that you've been cutting to 170, has it always been that feeling of why do I do this to myself, or is it the longer it's been, the more that feeling comes up?
Every single fight, man. Every single fight. I don't know. I kept asking myself that, I was actually talking to one of my friends the other day about it. It's like, man, why am I doing this to myself? Because, just walking around, I'm pretty much the same size as every middleweight out there. I walk around 205. Sometimes I even get to 210, So I think I'll be pretty decent size, at middleweight. But I kept coming down to 170. I don't know why, but we'll see, man. Maybe one day in the future we'll move up. But, every time I go and I make weight, I'm like, nah, man, I'm staying here at 170. Sure, we'll see what happens.
It's the love-hate relationship with the scale.
Yep, love-hate relationship. I'm happy after I make weight, but doing the process is terrible, man. But, been doing it for like 10 years now.
There's been a lot of talk. People wonder, 145, 155, 170. Your opinion, 170 the deepest weight class in Bellator?
I think so, man. I really do. Not just in Bellator. I think in every organization. I think 170 is the most stacked division. That's another reason. I like that. Man. It's a tough division, and there's a lot more tougher, bigger fights in there. So, I think about that as well.
And then at 85, I know it would be in the future, but would there be somebody that you would consider it would be a super fight or a great honor to fight up there at middleweight?
Man, not really. I never thought about that, thinking opponents and stuff like that. But I'm sure there's great fights here. The champion is really good. Of course, I'm always thinking about the belt. So if I move up, I'll definitely need to go after the champion. So whoever the champion is, and that's what we're gonna target. If we ever move up.
And then at Bellator 164, what does it mean to you, become a two-time champion, to regain that title?
It means everything right now, man. At this moment, I'm there at Bellator to be a champion. Got the opportunity and lost it, so it's even more important for me right now to get this belt. Especially now that a lot more eyes on Bellator. It's growing, bigger name signing. Man, gotta be the champion. Gotta take that belt back. Now I'm gonna do everything, Friday night to do that.
Also, you've been with Bellator for a long time. Now with kind of how they have the bigger shows and things are run differently with Scott Croker, do you look back and can you believe that you used to go in tournaments and fight 4 times in a short time? Can you believe that you used to do that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, those tournaments were tough, I'll tell you that. Making weight every month, that was terrible. Terrible. But, it's good to look back at it, like you were saying. Went through all that, since the beginning. I've been there for like 5 years now. I'm there 5 years, so it's great. It's great to see the company growing. Scott Coker really taking care of it, bringing the big names and stuff like that. So happy to be part of it, man. Happy I went through all that.
I'm happy you guys went through that too. I've been watching Bellator forever. I just think one thing that would be good for them right now would be to make some highlight shows from the earlier products so people could see a lot of the phenomenal knockouts like you had earlier in your career and those tournaments.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be a great idea right there. Definitely have about, 8 KOs in Bellator. It would be good for them to show everything, since the beginning. That's a great idea there.
Right, because people, I don't think, have got to see the best of you so far from what we've seen in the last couple fights. There were some phenomenal things early. So now, with the travel and everything, how early do you go out there to get adjusted, though, out to Israel?
Well, this time I'm going Saturday. You know, get there Sunday. You know, I wish we could have gone a little bit earlier, but it's all good. You know, because the time difference and all that. I get there like 3 to 4 days before the fight. But I don't think that's a big deal. You know, I just get there and sleep a lot. You know, get as much rest as I can. You know, because I'm not pushing too hard mainly as far as training. It's just a weight cut. And should be okay. I'm good to go. You know, just happy to travel to a different country one more time. You know, I love doing that. So, man, looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
Bellator 164, the main event. Douglas Lima looks to regain the welterweight title from Andrei Korshkov. Thank you for the time, sir.
You got it, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon.
There'll be more DC Life Uncensored in a moment. ISP, that's International Strategic Partners. When you think protection in New Mexico, you should think ISP, not your everyday security company, offering background checks, self-defense courses, handgun, firearm licensing, and a plethora of security, patrol, and investigation options. Call us at 505-255-6063. That's 505-255-6063 or online at callisp.com.
We're a dental laboratory that specializes in protective mouth guards for all sports. With the input and collaboration of professional athletes, dentists, and chemical engineers, Damage Control offers protection that is up to 417% greater than the competition, and a great fit that will make you forget you're even wearing a mouth guard. UFC champions, professional bull riding champions, and Mr. Olympian champions. These are athletes that depend on us for the ultimate protection. It's the most comfortable, most protective, and best fitting mouth guard. Breathe better, feel better, play better with the Damage Control mouth guard.
Welcome back to the DC Life Uncensored. Right now, we have a guest from Bellator 164, Georgi Karakhanyan. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just another day and doing good. Just doing all my obligations.
Getting all these interviews out. 4 weeks, short notice fight for you. So what does that do for you, taking a fight, short notice? How do you make up a camp?
Well, you could call it a short notice, but, after my last fight, I didn't take any. And just got back to the gym on Monday and just keep training. And I was actually looking forward to fighting a 55, but this offer came and, I took it. I jumped on it. I was originally supposed to fight Daniel Pineda. I think he broke his foot or something like that. And then, they offered me this fight, so I just took it.
Bellator, a lot of guys are bouncing around in between weight classes. The great term right now is money weight. So do you feel bouncing around between 45, 55, getting big fights, is that what's going to be best for you?
Yeah, I think the best for me is 55. But if there's a good matchup of 45, I'll kill myself to cut down to 45. But lately it's been really hard to hit the 45s because, I'm just my muscles are getting bigger, I'm getting older. So I just want to have a long career, and, I'm looking to fight my next few fights at 55.
So right now, is it for you, are you more focused on big fights, or are you looking to make a path towards the Bellator title?
Both, big fight that I'm looking for is Josh Thompson. I said it in my several interviews. I think it's a good matchup. There's no like disrespecting him and his style. I think he has a great name, and I would like to take on him. Maybe on that Chelson Tito Ortiz card. If there's opportunity to get fight for a belt at 45 and 55, I'm always willing to do that. But right now, I'm just trying to get as many fights as I can. I signed a new deal with them, so I'm just trying to put exciting fights and, re-sign again and get that money up.
And this fight, though, is going to be at featherweight?
This fight is going to be at the catchweight 150.
A catchweight of 150. Is that a good transition from you? You said you were killing yourself to make 45. Is this at least a nice little transition, 5 less pounds to have to make?
Yeah, right now I'm on 62. So before I leave, I should be like 58. So that's an 8-pound cut. That's nothing. Just I just like to fight, man. I don't want to sit there and think about eating this carrot, eating this celery, and to make 45. I want to eat good and just go out there and perform because, at the end of the day, it's about skills. It's not about, a lot of fighters believe it's the weight difference, this, that. I'm going to be big on the day of the fight. But to me, I really, really don't care. I just like to fight.
Has this been a thought brewing within you for a while over these last couple fights that the weight cut just isn't worth it and you feel better when you're training at a heavier weight?
Yeah, it's been going through my head for about past 2 years. And, after going out to Tom's River and training with Frankie Edgar, just seeing what weight he walks around and knowing that he fought half of his career at 55, it's just something that I wanted to do. And like I said, I want to fight for a long time. And I feel like there's some good matchups at 55 for me. And, that's what I'm looking for, big fights and, just a long career.
Talking about liking the fight, I've heard you mention before in the past possible kickboxing opportunities if they presented themselves. So is Bellator kickboxing an option for you?
Yeah, I'm really open for that. So I know they have a show in Italy, and I mentioned this to Rich Chow, I mentioned this to Scott Coker. I'm willing to take on good kickboxers and see what my kickboxing is. But I feel really comfortable kickboxing, and it's been one of my dreams to do professional kickboxing. I already done pro boxing, so right now that's on my list. So hopefully, before I'm done with fighting, I'll have a fight with Bellator kickboxing.
So stepping into those other striking realms, what fascinates you about testing those skills?
Just competition. I know those guys do that for a living, and I'm a big fan of kickboxing. I follow a lot of big names, and Georgi Karakhanyan and all those guys. I've just been watching them since I started fighting. So, and I sparred with a few good kickboxers. So I feel like I'm up there, but I won't know until I fight one of those guys. So. If the opportunity comes and if Bellator needs me for Italy card for a Bellator kickboxing, I'm always down.
Talking about Italy, and for this fight, you're fighting out in Israel. How does fighting overseas, how does that change up a camp for you or change up your process leading up to a fight?
Doesn't change much up. I was after the camp. I was in Colorado training at Dwayne's and at Muscle Farm. So it doesn't change up anything. I think it's a little time difference, but I'm already used to that. I fought in Japan, and it doesn't bother me that much.
From someone at sea level, because you're a California guy, what was that time up in Denver like? How did that elevation feel?
The elevation actually didn't bother me much because I have a house right there by Lake Arrowhead, so I usually live up by there, and then I come down, train down here in Millennia. So before I went there, so I was in pretty good shape. The only thing that bothered me is just swimming, because I swim a lot. That's when I started swimming out there. I felt a little bit, but other than that, I was fine. I was sparring 6-7 rounds with wrestling, 4 15-minute rounds. So it was good, man. Good training out there.
Bellator 164, you're going to be taking on Kirill Medovsky. Only 7-2 in MMA. A lot of videos from his Muay Thai and other combat sports, but is he a big enough name for you to take this fight, or is this kind of you wanted to keep active?
You know what? No matter who I fight, I'm getting paid the same because of my contract. So I'm just willing to fight whoever they give me. So if it's Kirill, it's Kirill. If it's Josh Thompson, it's Josh Thompson. It's whatever it is. I'm just getting paid whatever my contract is saying. So to me, it doesn't matter. I just want to get over with all these 4 fights and then, negotiate again, sign a good, better contract.
Carrillo, as an opponent, what do you see what kind of obstacles does he pose for you?
I think he has he's a good stand-up guy. Watched some of his fights, and he's just trying to make a name, just fighting me. But I'm taking it really seriously, and I'm in the gym 6 days a week, and I don't underestimate nobody. So I was in the shoes before, I know how that feels, but I've been saying this. It just sucks that he's in front of me. I want to go out there and just try to kill him.
And that's exactly what you did in your last fight, is you came out with some power. We saw the punch that put down Bubba Jenkins. Some people had comments about the fight being stopped too early. Did you have any last thoughts about that rivalry now that it's behind you, in the past?
I think it was the right decision to stop because usually when I hit somebody, I won't stop until someone stops me or someone jumps on me. So I think it was good for him, good for his health, good for his career, because, you don't want him to be in his 30s, 40s and not being able to talk or anything like that. But, if whoever thought that, they should just show up to my gym and we could spar. But, like I said, I have a killing instinct, and as soon as I hit him, I wasn't going to stop him. So, he was going to get out, but referee did a good job stopping that fight.
Talked about it's a good thing they stopped the fight for his long-term health. You fought well over 30 fights so far. Do you look at that and think about your long-term health sometimes, how much defense you use, or do you think about the future?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I train differently. Back in the day, we used to spar, man, 5 or 6 times a day. Right now, I barely spar. All the sparring is with the small gloves, technical sparring, and that's the key. And you don't want to spar like those guys are sparring at Blexerians. That's really unhealthy, and it's not good for your brain cells. But I try to keep it as smart as possible. I still push myself, but there is no, let's put the headgear on, let's put the 16-ounce gloves and just fuck each other up. I'm trained very intelligent.
And it's with time and with age, you've gained this knowledge, right, of how to be safer, how to do things in a smarter manner.
Yeah, I think last year I just kind of evaluated everything because I was going through a lot of injuries. So, I was like, I want to have about 7 more years of fighting, and, you got to train smart. And that's the key, man. And it's we don't get paid in the gym. We don't walk in the gym and just say, okay, you're going to spar this guy, we're going to pay you this much. We get when we step inside the cage, we get paid when we win. And that's the key, man. You got to keep it smart, and you can't have that mindset, okay, I'm going to go in the gym and just, you want to do good in the gym. You want to do good against all your training partners, but you can't go and kill each other. And just before the fight comes, you're injured, you beat up, and, stuff like that. So that's why I'm swimming a lot. All my conditionings are hard. All my mid sessions are really hard, but there's not that much hard sparring.
And then you had also said you want to get through these 4 fights, get back to the renegotiation table, obviously wanting more money to make a future for yourself. Was there a reason why it seemed like from when we heard you were becoming a free agent, you re-signed very quickly with Bellator? Was that, again, just wanting to stay busy and work your way back up?
Yeah, just me and Scott Cover talked for a long time on the phone, and we agreed on certain terms, and me as a fighter, I'm always going to want to get paid more, but, I just want to be busy, so they keep me busy, I'm happy. I fight, I'm happy, and, as soon as I'm done with those 4 fights, we'll sit down and talk again, and hopefully these 4 fights I'll impress Scott, Bellator, and Rich Joe. Pretty exciting fight for him. and they'll offer me better contracts.
Georgi,
Not like this one is not good, but I'm happy with this one.
I know everybody, you want more money. Every fight, it seems like everybody wants more money to keep going, to keep moving forward, and so that we can keep seeing everyone just get better paydays across the whole landscape of MMA, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing. I've been in sport for 10 years. MMA made me, made me some good money and made me go through a lot of stuff. But you can't be happy with just, if I just settle with this, then I'm just gonna be stuck here. So my goals are always higher than what it is.
And I figure that that's a fighter's mentality, an athlete's mentality, a competitor's mentality. You never settle, whether it's your contract, your skills. You're always looking for the next way to improve, right?
Exactly. That's the way. If you're happy where you at, I mean, I appreciate everything I have. I'm happy what I accomplished, but there's always more. And that's the key about life, fighting, and everything in life. So, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do good in fights. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do good in life, and that's just the way I look at the life. I just want to always be better every day.
Georgi Karakhanyan, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. The DC Life Uncensored will be back in just a moment. We're going to keep going with our talk about major MMA, as it is time to look forward to Bellator 164 and UFC 205 when we get back.
The Fight Shop New Mexico in the Montano Plaza Shopping Center, located off Coors and Montano.
ISP, that's International Strategic Partners. When you think protection in New Mexico, you should think ISP, not your everyday security company, offering background checks, self-defense courses, handgun, firearm licensing, and a plethora of security patrol and investigation options. Call us at 505-255-6063. That's 505-255-6063, or online at callisp.com. You're back with the DC Life Uncensored, and now it's time to look forward and again continue our preview and outlook. Bellator 164, and oh my god, it's finally here. UFC 205, not to mention some legacy talk. We've heard from Georgi Karakhanyan, we've heard from Douglas Lima. Georgi Karakhanyan taking on Kirill Medovsky. You look him up, he has a long background of martial arts activities, has a YouTube channel, you can see his kickboxing, some grappling on there. You have to go with the veteran. Kirill, very solid looking prospect, a big moment, a tough, wily veteran. Georgi Karakhanyan, I believe this is a good fight for him to continue the win streak. You heard it earlier, looking to be a 155er. This cut to 145 is just too hard. I believe that he ends his featherweight run here with a big victory, if nothing else, a decision. The co-main event, Noad Lahet, he's going to be looking to take this to the ground, uses ground and pound. While on the opposite side, I believe that Scott Cleave will want to keep this standing and look to bop you. Look for that knockout shot. Lahet, this is going to be a hard one to not... This is going to be a hard one for him to not just emotionally win. I believe that the emotions are going to carry him through this. It's a big spot, being in Israel, his home country, the first Bellator event. A big pressure on his shoulders of this momentous occasion, but I believe that he will, with his takedowns, his wrestling, he will, from that AKA pedigree, get the victory. Then our main event, we talked to Douglas Lima, the challenger. This is a whole different fight. Do not expect Andrei Korshkov to just be able to out-wrestle Douglas Lima. Could he put together the fight that we're expecting to see? A tight strikers duel. I did not expect domination. I expected last time via the split, a thin margin, that Lima with his power strikes would be able to get the decision. But you gotta love what Korshkov does as he's mixing up his striking. If he's able to use his kicks, the jab is very important from both people. I am on the fence sitting on this fight. A showcase of the two best welterweights, not money weights, but welterweights that Bellator has to offer. Douglas Lima, Andrei Korshkov. honestly what I feel is a can't miss main event Friday night from Israel. We get to see that here. The striking, it's going to be all about the footwork. Does Lima gaslight? He's had that tendency. That's where Korshakov could be able to retain into the deep waters. Also Friday night, that was Spike TV. Friday night, you're also going to have on Access TV from the Fire Lake Arena, Legacy FC 62 in Oklahoma. Real quick, we're going to touch on the main event where Cortez Coleman, 13-6, is taking on 3-0 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ace Rafael Lovato Jr. At this level of the game, you expect Lovato to be able to drag his opponent to the ground and either find an arm bar, maybe an arm triangle, or a rear naked choke. But there will be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on display. Lovato Jr. trying to put together a resume that'll catapult him to that next level, to a Bellator, a WSOF, a UFC. Talking about the UFC now, let's move on to Saturday, because we all know that's what we really, really want to talk about. UFC 205, I mean, it gets started on the Fight Pass prelims, where Liz Carmouche and Caitlin Cookigan are going to do battle. Cookigan, the striker, you got to look for her to shut down the takedowns. If Carmouche can score a takedown, she gets the victory. I don't see that being the case, though. And our Fight Pass prelims main event, Thiago Alves at 155 pounds. Can he make weight? This is the most interesting thing in the world. Can a guy that had problems going down in 155 actually make 170? And recently fired his nutritionist, Mike Doce, out of the Pitbull Thiago Alves camp. First time trying to make 155 pounds. Unless the thunderous power of Alves is too much to handle for Miller, you got to figure the veteran is going to grind and wear out the Alves. I'm going to be amazed if he makes 155 pounds from where we sit. That's an interesting fight. Now, if some of you may know the card a little more in-depthly, you think, oh, well, Mikey, you skipped over a prelim. No, I believe it's kicking off now, the FS1 prelims. You're going to have Tim Boetsch, Rafael Natal Drainage on the ground. Can Boetsch continue to do what he does, put guys on the fence, wear on them, grind on them, beat them up in space. This is Natal's fight. Going technically on the jiu-jitsu, it's Natal's fight, but Boetsch can make this awkward. I like this one a lot. Also, you have Bilal Muhammad. I think he's going to beat up a Vicente Luque, who's going to be trying to take this one to the ground. Muhammad, his boxing, his striking, very clean cut, very technical. He's getting used to the octagon. Next fight we will be talking about, Tim Kennedy, Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans is out, had trouble making weight, or some kind of medical issues is what it's being labeled. I'm not completely sure. There will be articles going out and around about this, but Rashad Evans, Tim Kennedy, fight's been canceled. Rashad Evans, medical issues. So we move on, and we're actually talking about Khabib Nurmagomedov and Michael Johnson at this point, and it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous how stacked this card is to be talking about this fight in this position. You feel that this one is going to the decision. It's two high-caliber, high-level fighters. Nurmagomedov doesn't get hurt by strikes often. Relentless wrestling. Johnson does not allow himself to get taken down. If you're looking at your UFC stats, obviously the more active striker on the feet is Johnson. It's Sambo versus a Dutch kickboxer. How much footwork and head movement does Michael Johnson have? In his return victory, the biggest thing that he did bouncing back from his loss to Nate Diaz was took one step forward, was able to apply pressure, was able to follow through with his punches, and that was the key to victory. Nurmagomedov has been cruising, has nothing short of spectacular throughout his whole MMA career at 23-0, coming off of a win over Daryl Horcher. He does have a victory over Rafael Dos Anjos, the former champion, but that win was in April of 2014. You get 2 years off before you fight a Daryl Horcher. That was supposed to be the fight against Tony Ferguson. I'm not going to doubt the kind of challenge that you get in a gym like AKA. You're not going to doubt the kind of challenge that he gets in his own gym with his own fight team that he has back home in Dagestan. But you have to wonder, will the time off, will some of these things, will the title fight falling out, will these all snowball, and these obstacles finally cause a loss to the Eagle. Can he get his takedowns? Can he impose his will? We've not seen anybody be able to stop him. He even did grind out Abel Trujillo back in 2013, a main training partner of Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson has shown to have holes in his game, but is shown to be also a great technical striker. If he comes out and he's on the right mindset, if he's able to move forward enough. A bad decision loss against Beneil Dariush, the Nate Diaz debacle, and then you came back and you got the knockout. You showed all the potential and all the hype against Dustin Poirier. Can you put that kind of performance together against Nurmagomedov? Can you come forward? Can you put that pressure on? Or in doing so, are you too tentative because of the wrestling? Johnson is the kind of athlete that could stuff the takedowns. Again, such an amazing card. Nurmagomedov, though, relentless. I'd like him to remain undefeated, but it'll be footwork and an accumulation of bopping a guy and takedown defense if Johnson is able to get the victory. Frankie Edgar, Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens has to land the power punches. Frankie Edgar has to have a better night than he did against Jose Aldo. He has to put together combinations and make this a long fight because Stephens' power never fades, and it's an accumulation versus a can I wear on you. I like Edgar. At 155 pounds, this would be, the dream for Stephens, who was a long time lightweight. You're not featherweight. You're getting a chance to knock off a top guy, an all-time top guy in Frankie Edgar. Big spot for Stephens, but it's so hard to stop Frankie Edgar. I think he's able to do the timely things, do the technical things, late takedowns, accumulation of strikes. Frankie Edgar, just another level. Miesha Tate, Raquel Pennington. You figure the grappling and the all-aroundness of Tate is going to win this fight. If Pennington can stuff the takedowns, she is the better striker. Calvin Gastelum, Donald Cerrone, again, if you can stuff the takedowns, use your footwork and accumulation of punches. Can Gastelum make weight? Cerrone can put a pace on him like nobody else, though. Chris Weidman, Yoel Romero. Is Weidman really healed up from his injuries? Is he as slow as people are calling him, like Michael Bisping? If slow, the explosive athlete, Yoel Romero, could disappoint the home crowd. This is a big spot for Chris Weidman, who we've ever seen lose once. How have the injuries affected him? I don't even want to make a prediction on that fight because it's so wild. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Karolina Kowalski. You have the title on the line, the women's strawweight title. This could possibly be the best fight we've ever seen in the women's division. I mean, just in their UFC numbers. I know these stats don't count for much, but Joanna Jędrzejczyk, a 48% accurate striker, 6 strikes per minute in the UFC stats, and a 67% defense. Włóczniak just a little bit lower, 56%. Almost 6 strikes landed a minute. You would say that in a unanimous decision that the more active striker is going to be Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but there are some questions about her chin, and you always got to wonder, how does a fighter react their first time with a new camp, a partial camp here the last couple weeks with American Top Team? Does that really change how Joanna fights on Fight Night? Different voices, different team, not the same people you've been working with. Is the game plan what you really want? Do you really understand it? Did you adapt to your new skills? For Karolina Włóczniak, because of the pressure from the Polish community that they were disappointed in Joanna leaving and going to Florida, does Karolina have an emotional advantage as she's now representing the country as I stayed? She does want to again be able to stun Joanna. She does win most of her fights by decision. I think this to be a long one. It is even in the reach. It is about technique. If Karolina wins, she has to be able to score knockdowns. I don't know if they're able to overwhelm each other, and this could be a sick battle of elbows as they are both very high-level Muay Thai practitioners. It's going to be an insane battle, I believe, on the feet. And enjoy 25 minutes of what is going to be a bloody, most likely Muay Thai-esque looking MMA bout. And still, I guess I'm going to go with that. I don't know if we see the change, but if we do, it'll be from a knockout. Tyrone Woodley, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Thompson the challenger for Woodley's welterweight title. The co-main event of this shindig. Wonderboy on the ridiculous win streak. MMA math would say because Rory McDonald beat Woodley and then got spanked now a year later by Wonder Boy. That Wonder Boy, actually, I would say is the favorite. He does have a slight reach advantage in the arms, gives that back, though, in the legs. Is the slightly taller fighter. It's about footwork. He said he asked Ali Woodley to win, and that is exactly what he has to do. Can he pull that off? Because Woodley is so explosive. One touch, and it could be time to say goodnight. I think I want to cheer for Wonder Boy. The win streak, the way he's put it together, he's done things differently, and just sometimes the other side of it. The Woodley look at me, crying, talking about an entertainment value. I'm enthralled by Wonder Boy, I'm here to train, fight, make fights. Let's see what happens. I even train with GSP. Let's fight GSP. Things like that. I'm intrigued by Thompson. As Woodley says, look at me, I could be so famous. Look at me. I'm here. I've suffered. I've grinded. I don't know if he is ready to take on the offensive potential that Thompson will offer up. Also, Thompson does have that sidekick, which does deter the space a little bit. If Woodley's trying to explode and he can get that leg out there to stop him. A very close, could end in any second, highly intriguing co-main event for that welterweight title. As much as I want to see a change of the guard, I feel like just because I want it so much, I may be overlooking something, and you cannot overlook the explosiveness of what Tyron Woodley will do, but this one does stay on the feet. It's that potential of the knockout that will scare you. This leads us up to the main event, and what a highly intriguing, historic possibility of a main event this is. Conor McGregor looking to cap off history and ruin MMA by becoming the first person to hold 2 titles at one time. Now, what I mean ruin MMA, this man already, I am the show. The whole thing goes down without me. The WME era of UFC is Conor McGregor hostage if he is victorious in this fight. Let's think about this. McGregor wins this, and automatically Nate Diaz is a number 1 contender. We're 1-1, dude. We need to settle this. Let's do it at 155. You got the belt. Possibly, depending on what Michael Johnson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, how their fight works out, you will have Khabib and Tony Ferguson on 9-fight win streaks. If they don't deserve title, opportunities, who does? Oh yeah, and you throw him down at the featherweight division because you're still holding that division hostage. That Max Holloway does deserve that title shot. Oh yeah, Aldo should fight McGregor because when has an interim champion ever had to defend his title? Well, the supposed real champion, runs around in another division or two. So there's 5 guys held hostage by the Conor McGregor effect if he comes away victorious in this fight. If not, Eddie Alvarez has the option of Ferguson and Nurmagomedov. If he loses, McGregor then still has the option, I guess, of the Diaz fight. But really, you need to go back to your division or give that title up. And there's the Aldo or Holloway fight, or do you completely take a break like people are speculating? You hand over the title, and Aldo Holloway happens anyway for the real title. Lot of implications from who is victorious in this fight. If you look at the numbers right now, you would say that McGregor is definitely the favorite, even though we've never seen him at 155 pounds in the octagon. Him and Alvarez, same weight, same height, at least what the raw numbers are going to say going into this one. We haven't seen Conor hit 155 pounds, but obviously weighed in at 168 at welterweight, so he can make 155. Alvarez, his longtime home, 3-1 now inside the octagon, got beat up with leg kicks. I think it was a good move, a very good move for him, leaving the Black Zillions and going with Mark Henry's group up there in New Jersey. The difference is the footwork. Hopefully he bring back with him the vicious Dutch kickboxing leg kicks that come from the Black Zillion style, but their legs get eaten up coming forward, and they're too upright with no head movement in that kind of Muay Thai and Dutch kickboxing stance because they hide behind their guard with their big gloves a lot. Mark Henry style, the boxing for MMA, like esque of Frankie Edgar, you're light on your feet, there's a lot of movement, angles, head movement, that could be a prevailing factor. The best thing that Conor McGregor did in from the first Nate Diaz fight to the second one was improve his footwork and his head movement. He didn't eat as many shots. Eating shots, that is the one speculation that you have, and the one real big question we have about Eddie Alvarez. If you've been a fan of him or been an observer of him like I have through his time in Bellator, you've seen he's eaten big shots and been able to come back for him. I think Conor McGregor looked at that and said, I can hurt this man. I can buzz this man. I can sting this man and finish the fight. That's what he believes. He believes he's going to hurt Alvarez and turn Alvarez into a wrestler. Well, as far as Alvarez being a wrestler, we've seen him do it with real effectiveness against guys like Gilbert Melendez and Anthony Pettis, who made livings out of stuffing and stopping wrestlers so that they could get off their strikes, their boxing, and their kickboxing. So does Alvarez go that way? Well, from what we've seen from some sparring tape, McGregor has diligently been working on his takedown defense because he does believe that Alvarez is going to try to grind him. Could that be what we're going to see? That's what people thought was going to happen against Dos Anjos, and then he got into a brawl. And that is the element to this fight that is intriguing, because if they get into a brawl, the Philly comes out in Eddie Alvarez, and he has the power to put the lights out on Conor McGregor. His uppercuts are very dangerous. They hit you in the pocket, and they end fights. They've buzzed many guys before between Bellator and now his run here in the UFC. The closer this one gets in range, the more you like Eddie Alvarez, from the grinding to the clinch work to that boxing, dirty boxing range. If it's a kickboxing Muay Thai range, he's flowy, he has footwork, he stays away from you and elusive. I like Conor McGregor in that instance. So a very interesting fight. Gotta say, I can't even predict it because I'm a little already pushed on this fight by my impressions, but I think that Alvarez does have the formula. And if he made advancements and improvements in his game like he did leading up to the Dos Anjos fight, I think he does make his first title defense. So it may be kind of boring because I'm predicting that we still have 3 title defenses here successful. But Woodley Thompson, I would circle as the one where I can see the greatest opportunity for a new champion. That has been the preview part of the DC Life Uncensored. Again, Friday night. Remember Bellator and also Legacy. I believe that Pancrase and Shuto are going to be on Saturday. I believe that Shuto is early in the morning for us. You have the UFC, and then after that, Pancrase. There is MMA all around us. It is a historic weekend. 5 title fights in all, 6, 7, 8. Titles everywhere. The DC Life Uncensored will be right back. We're going to start getting local and welcome in Ron Baca, so he can talk about his upcoming title affair this weekend too. More DC Life Uncensored in just a moment.
We're a dental laboratory that specializes in protective mouth guards for all sports. With the input and collaboration of professional athletes, dentists, and chemical engineers, Damage Control offers protection that is up to 417% greater than the competition, and a great fit that will make you forget you're even wearing a mouth guard. UFC champions, professional bull riding champions, and Mr. Olympian champions. These are athletes that depend on us for the ultimate protection. It's the most comfortable, most protective, and best fitting mouth guard. Breathe better, feel better, play better with the Damage Control mouth guard.
The Fight Shop New Mexico in the Montano Plaza Shopping Center, located off Coors and Montano.
Welcome back to the DC Life Uncensored. Right now, joining us on our Call ISP hotline is going to be Gallup, New Mexico's Ron Baca, heavyweight boxer. Title fight ahead of him next weekend up in Denver, Colorado, November 12th. Ron, thank you for the time. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm doing well. So what's your initial thoughts when you hear you're getting called for a title fight?
Well, I guess it's just like, I feel the same way I feel in the other fight. Just get ready, make sure I show up that night for the fight, you know? But, I guess there's a little extra anxiety in it when the trophy's on the line, I guess.
Currently on a 3-fight win streak. How much momentum do you feel that you have right now?
I'm not momentum. I don't really feel, because I won them all by decision. I mean, it was a real big win. But
I feel confident, though. I feel confident that I'm going to win November 12th. But I know Lemos is a tough guy, though.
Now, Kenny, this isn't the first time you guys are going to face off. This is actually a rematch. You took a split decision the first time. How'd that fight play out?
That fight was good. I probably stood in front of him a little more than I should have, and had to learn to hit pretty hard. But they put it out good. My face didn't look too good after the fight, but I thought it was good. I thought it was fair judging. Close fight. I had a lot of folks down that I should have probably capitalized more on, but live and learn, I guess.
So what are some things you do this time to capitalize it to make sure it's even more definite in your favor?
Well, I need to know, because I got good footwork, and I'm fast for heavyweight. So I would say the thing that I could do best for this next fight is not stand straight in front of him with hip angles. Because, like I said, I learned that first fight. He's strong, he's tough, he's a hard guy. So, I mean, I don't want to. After the fight, I don't want to look like I did after the last fight, pretty much. So I'm not going to sit in front of him.
So the key is to not go through a war this time?
No, I don't want. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure we'll fight because I like to fight, and I know he likes to fight. So I'm sure we'll have some fighting in there. But I'm gonna try my best not to fucking get caught up and stand toe to toe with him.
Now, New Mexico has a long, illustrious boxing history, and I've talked to a couple people that know the New Mexico boxing history. So even though it's a minor title, you would still be the first New Mexico heavyweight boxing champion. So what are your thoughts on possibly accomplishing something that's a first ever?
That's cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, actually. So that's pretty cool. I just learning that right now. So I don't know. Pretty exciting.
And from where you've come as a boxer, you look back in the days when you started, do you remember what it was, why you went into the gym, why you got into boxing, what attracted you to the sport?
Wow. I went to the gym because my brother, my first coach, Jimmy Montano, he was talking about, he was one of my mom and my dad's good friend, and he was asking my mom if we wanted to box, and my older brother wanted to box. And he asked me if I wanted to go with him, and I told him no. So he just made me go anyways because he just beat me up back then. And so I ended up going that first day, and he made us spar that first day. And I was about 15, and I just got my ass kicked bad by some older men, and it kind of pissed me off, and I just wanted to get good at them so I could beat them. And then I don't know, I kind of started to love boxing and just never stopped really since then.
12 fights. Could you believe now that it's translated into what you've done and then a 12-fight pro career? Did you ever envision that first day it taking you down this path?
No, I didn't. Actually, I got in a lot of trouble I got in a lot of trouble too when I was younger. When I should have been fighting amateurs. I did not have an amateur background. It's because I made stupid decisions, and I never would have thought, even thinking back then when I was 21, that I would be fighting professionally right now, because that just wasn't anything that was in my process back when I was kind of retarded. So, but it's cool. I'm moving positive now. I love what I'm doing, so I would have never thought so.
So as a pro boxer now and a star out in your local community out in Gallup, what do you do to try to put out that positive reinforcement out there into the community?
All I do is, I hang out with my girl and try to stay around my family. We hang out with her family and my family, and pretty much stay home. Try to stay grounded and disciplined. Don't do too much. We travel a lot. We like to go to a lot of different places. But other than that, I don't do much. I just sit home and just focus on this, and that's pretty much it.
So would you say boxing has helped you to grow up?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. I'd probably be in a lot worse situation right now if it wasn't for boxing, if I never started.
Now, coming off of your last fight, it was another rematch, a win over Manuel Otero. I didn't really get to talk to many of the guys that night, but first off, wanted to get your thoughts on, was it cold for you guys out there at all?
What's that?
Was it cold?
It wasn't that cold. I thought it was going to be cold. And then I got out there, and I don't know if I just warmed up right before the fight, but I wasn't cold at all. I felt good, actually, and in between rounds, I didn't have no problems. So, yeah, still cold, but before I remember thinking before the fight, how are they doing to be cold? Well, no, it didn't affect me. I didn't feel it when I was in the fight.
And we know they had some technical difficulties with the lighting. Did any of that get in your eye, how it was in the corner and it was the spotlights? Did you have any problems with that?
Yeah, it was horrible lighting. Actually, I walked him down to, I remember I think it might have been the second or third round, I walked him down to the corner, and I wanted to unload on him when he was in the corner, and the light was just right in my eye. It kind of like, it kind of reminded me of a cop flashlight when they start shining at your eyes, you can't see them. Well, so I just kind of backed off and I let him get out of that corner because I couldn't see anything anyway.
And then I gotta ask, what happened after the fight?
Well, what happened after the fight? He was talking. I fought him before, and he was talking all kinds of stuff on Facebook. And I don't do the Facebook thing on social media, but everybody kept asking me about it. So after the fight, I went and told him good job in his coach and everything, and thank you. And I was like, hey, I didn't realize there was no hard feelings between us, but please don't disrespect me. I don't disrespect you. I don't disrespect anybody. And he kind of freaked out on me and sort of trying to push me and stuff. So it's weird, but I don't know. I don't believe in that for what I do in boxing. I don't ever badmouth anybody that I'm fighting, or I never will, or anybody that I fought. So I kind of expect people to not do that to me too, because I don't know.
These last 3 fights, like you said, you're on the win streak, but they've all been decisions. So does that make you even hungrier for another stoppage?
Yeah, it does. But I kind of coming to the realization that I'm not a banger for a heavyweight. So I honestly don't even want to be in the heavyweight division really anymore, but until I could get out, or if I could get out, then I'm going to stay fighting heavyweights.
So right now, what would be optimum from you? What's your plan? Are you trying to drop down, go cruiserweight, or go lower?
I'm just trying to drop down to see what my body feels good at. I'm not trying to, I don't have a set weight. I mean, if I drop down to 220 and that's as low as I can go without getting myself weak, then I'll stay right there. But right now, I feel I'm a little too heavy for my frame structure. And I think it shows up when I'm fighting other big guys, you know. And pretty much since I've been boxing, I've been sparring middleweight and welterweight since I started boxing pretty much.
So for you, is this a plan following this fight November 12th to start trying to get down lower, and that's what you're going to look for the next fight?
Yeah, I'm not really too worried about getting too much lower this fight because the last fight, Kenny was really strong, and he was just a physically strong guy, and he was just 30, so I'm not really too worried about it being too light for this fight. But I mean, I'm still in good shape. We sparred 30 minutes straight. Yesterday it was had like a 30-second. We had a 30-second break. We had 2 15-minute rounds with 30-second break, and I handled that well. So I ain't worried about my conditioning being heavier, but I don't want to lose some of the things for this fight because I know you're a strong guy, and I don't want to get pushed. I don't want to get bullied, pretty much. You know, I'm pretty sure it's gonna it's going to get pretty ugly in a couple of the rounds.
So it's a thinking for after this fight of the getting down. Right now, it's maintaining your weight to be in a grueling heavyweight battle.
Well, not really maintaining, but just trying not to. I guess I'm trying to keep my strength that I have. You know what I mean? But yeah, pretty much. I guess pretty much.
And then, with it being a title fight, has there been any different changes in the camp?
No, not really. We pretty much. I don't ever really take breaks from breaks 4 or 5 times a week. So I mean, we just had an extra day on when we're getting ready for fights, but everything's pretty much the same. I still run 5 miles every day. I still don't eat that. I just do for whatever I was doing for the next fight, but just up the round and as far as the mitt work going, sparring and the heavy bag and everything else, you know. But don't change too much. Just increase the rounds.
With having just fought in August against Kenny and this rematch coming quickly, does that give you a sense of the fighter you saw in August couldn't have changed too much in this time?
Well, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. My phone was speaking up.
With having fought Kenny already once, just in August, does that give you a sense of you know what to expect? He couldn't have changed that much?
Yeah, I definitely know what to expect. I mean, he has some videos out there on the internet you can see, and as far as I've seen, even when he was younger, his fighting style was pretty much the same as how he fought me. But I made a lot of mistakes I shouldn't have made the first fight that I don't believe I'll make again, but who knows, because I might just get caught up and want to fight again. So those things happen to me a lot.
It's a big step, fighting for your first title. How many rounds is this one going to be?
8.
Have you went 8 before in a fight?
No, this is my first. Just nowhere but the gym, but I haven't been there yet. Not in a real fight.
An 8-rounder, the first time. What does it mean to you? Would it mean to you to capture the title?
Oh, it'd be great. It would be cool. I mean, as far as that bout goes, I know it's not a major bout, but it's still something. It's just it'd be cool. But nobody in my town really boxes. Nobody fights. I have no sparring gals. You have to go to Albuquerque every week to get sparring. So it'd be cool. I don't know.
And then on to that, when you come into Albuquerque, who do you go spar with?
Lately I've been sparring with Ken Meeks. I can't remember his name, but he's a 185 cage champ. Sarias. Sarias. I don't know his last name. And Josh Sanchez. And usually I'll spar with like Pitbull, but I haven't sparred with him in a while.
So getting in some good work with solid guys.
Yeah. Yeah, very solid guys. They're all good. They'll have good pro records too, as far as Tim Meeks is a UFC fighter, and Sarias is a world champion in Keegan Cage, and Josh Sanchez is a good young fighter. He's a beast. So everybody's pretty solid to spar with. Fast. Everybody's fast to spar with too.
Right, a lot of great training partners. Now, one last question for you. Kenny is from that Colorado area. Do you expect to be playing that villain role?
Oh, definitely. I played it in the first fight. I mean, but I silenced this crowd the first fight, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes in the fight against. But yeah, I'm definitely the bad guy.
Is that a motivating factor, or would you rather be the hometown guy?
It always is. I always like running somebody's house and beating them more than I like beating somebody else and all my people are around. It's a little extra sweet. I mean, winning's great and all, no matter where it comes. But to to beat somebody in the backyard is a little better.
Silence in the crowd.
Yeah, I love it.
Ron Baca, I gotta thank you for the time, sir. It's been great getting to know you. Did you have anybody that you needed to thank, that you needed to shout out to?
And I just got to thank my coach, Joe, my girlfriend, Bobby, and my mom, for putting up with my horrible ass when we went through the training camp. Because I get pretty shitty when I'm getting close to a fight. So that's pretty much it.
Best of luck next weekend. Ron Baca looks the caption. Rocky Mountain Regional title. Thank you for the time, sir, and there'll be more DC Life Uncensored in just a moment.
The Fight Shop New Mexico in the Montano Plaza Shopping Center, located off Coors and Montano.
ISP, that's International Strategic Partners. When you think protection in New Mexico, you should think ISP, not your everyday security company, offering background checks, self-defense courses, handgun, firearm licensing, and a plethora of security, patrol, and investigation options. Call us at 505-255-6063. That's 505-255-6063, or online at callisp.com. Welcome back to the DC Life Uncensored, and again, I have to say a big thanks to my guests, Georgi Karakhanyan, Douglas Lima in action, Bellator 164 this Friday, both on the main card, Spike TV. It's in Tel Aviv, Israel, big overseas event for Bellator. And then also Ron Baca, Gallup heavyweight boxer, going out to Colorado this weekend. Can he become the first person, even though it's a minor regional title, to bring back a heavyweight boxing championship to the 505? Hopefully Baca puts in a good performance, has a good night there in the ring. Now we're going to talk about some more national news and national stuff. You've probably heard the news. Jon Jones, arbitration, USADA, his lawyers, the UFC was involved. The end result is a 1-year suspension. This is because Jon Jones didn't exactly take steroids. What he took and tested positive for was a pill that was a dick pill, a performance-enhancing bedroom drug. The reason that his suspension ends up, Jon Jones, is going from 6 months to a year, where a Yoel Romero, a Tim Means had 6 month suspensions. They had 6 month suspensions because they took a supplement that was a over-the-counter legalized supplement that had entities in it that were not labeled on the package, as to where Jones, the pill he took that he didn't go to the furthest lengths of inquiring what was in it, did have the substances that he tested positive for on the label, meaning it was more of his fight, even more of his fault, even though it's not with malicious intent. It ends up being that you still put into your body. You didn't do all the due diligence to make sure that you were staying within the guidelines of the rules, and that equals a 1-year suspension. That means Jon Jones is eligible to return to action July 2017. So we know in December, ending out the year, well, not even ending out the year, December, early December, we're getting Daniel Cormier and Anthony Johnson to battle for the light heavyweight title. The interim champion, Jon Jones, again, eligible to fight in July. The state of the 205-pound division across MMA is pretty crappy. This is where the UFC could actually still use a Phil Davis, but they let him go to Bellator, and he is the king of a not-so-stacked division there. I mean, his next big matchup could be Chael Sonnen with Rampage and King Mo Lual being moneyweight fighters, looking to more fight, I believe, at heavyweight. Not a great division. Phil Davis would be desperately needed by the UFC at this point, but that's been my sticking point the whole time about Phil leaving. But Jon Jones now, where does he go? Because Daniel Cormier has trust issues about him. If DC beats Rumble, where does Jon Jones go? Maybe a fight with an Alexander Gustafsson who's on the sidelines. You have a Little Nog and a Ryan Bader about to fight. Jimmy Manoa. but that's where we're at. Even a Shogun who has won 2 in a row, those are where we're at for Jon Jones when he comes back. You also have to look that at UFC 206, the same night that DC and Johnson do battle, you do have a Misha Krokhanov 3-0 in the UFC against a Nikita Krylov who's on a 5-fight win streak. One of those young men will be the next European up-and-comer in this division, but you're only looking at guys who are coming off wins in the division. DC and Rumble are battling for the belt. You have Jones, you have Bader, who's battling Little Nog, and again, you have Shogun, for what it's worth, a Jimmy Manoa, and the winner of Krylov and Krokhanov, and out of like a top 15, we're talking about 8 dudes there who will be in a positive soon. Not sure where the division is heading. If it's Rumble Johnson who wins, we finally could get to see if he wins the 206. In July, maybe you hold it off because there's no real challengers. You get a Rumble versus a Jon Jones because Rumble does have wins, I believe, over everybody that we just talked about. Gustafsson, Teixeira, Bader. He has beat up, bludgeoned, and knocked out the whole division, leaving it to where you have Jones, DC, Johnson, and then a gap where Gustafsson takes over, leading the rest of the second tier. And we're looking, again, a Krylov and a Krokhanov could be the guys that will break through this glass ceiling, make their way into that upper echelon, and possibly even challenge, because I'm still not sure about Jimmy Manoa. What do we know about him? A great performance in defeating Ovince St. Preux, but as high as everybody was for the good things that OSP did in surviving his fight with Jon Jones, he didn't have the greatest track record with losses against Bader, Teixeira. He had faltered at big moments. 205-pound division, not doing so great. But Jon Jones, the return of him on the horizon. Maybe we get the Rumble fight. Maybe we get the DC rematch. Still some good things to be had there. And we'll just have to wait till July. Even though DC just fought 5 months ago, this is a big fight. Injuries, I wouldn't be surprised if we could hold off a next 205-pound title fight till July, and it would be Jon Jones's. That's something to look forward to. Now, also in recent news, Michael Bisping keeps making news. He talked about GSP. He talked about Nick Diaz. Then we have a Luke Rockhold injury, so Jacare Souza automatically right there. We've heard Bisping talking about fighting at 206, UFC 206, but that doesn't happen. And what doesn't happen is because now that it's a legitimate 185-pound challenger, Bisping is citing, I have a foot that needs to get injections, I got a crushed orbital socket, and he even said on UFC Tonight, this fight, if I fight Jacare Souza, it brings $250,000 to my bank account. If I fight a GSP or a Nick Diaz, that's a $3 to $4 million fight because of their popularity. So one, popularity, money, that belt, just a money symbol. I don't even know if he believes he's the best middleweight in the world. He just controls, and he's an interesting middleweight. This is what Michael Bisping is. That belt makes him a main eventer. He's picking and choosing his spots, and I don't love that from a fighter. So December 10th, he could have been ready to fight Diaz or GSP, because it would have been worth the money to duct tape himself together. And if he loses, who cares? He made a lot of money, as to where the Jacare fight isn't worth it because he's like, I make 1/12 of the money. If he was making $3 million, $250,000, that's like 1/12, maybe lower, 1/25 of the money. And I lose that title, and I don't have the ability for a big fight again. So Jacare, no, you are not going to fight me in December. You can wait till I'm healthy, because that is a risk. And again, I shudder to think about the words sports entertainment and the business of fighting when we're talking about the UFC. If Michael Bisping was healthy enough to talk about GSP or Nick Diaz for UFC 206, two guys that are in this upper echelon, then you should easily been able to talk about Jacare Souza. Should have easily been ready to defend your title. Because if you're going to talk about defending against one guy, be the fighting champion and talk about it for another guy. Now, also in the same instance, people did say, well, Michael, what do you think would be next for yourself for defending that middleweight title? And he did say, well, Jacare is a possibility, or there's a possibility of the Chris Weidman, Yoel Romero winner. And then now, a day or two later, you heard comments from Michael Bisping where it's, well, it's more like it's Chris Weidman or Jacare Souza, what I mean. What he means is that Bisping would protest, not sign the contract, and would not do business in fighting Yoel Romero. Even though currently Yoel Romero has been dominant in the UFC. A 7-fight win streak. Even though there was Stoolgate and there was a split decision. He really should be 5-2, Yoel Romero, in the UFC with a loss to Tim Kennedy. It should have been a TKO, second round, 5 minutes of it, unwilling to get off the stool back in September of 2014. But that didn't happen. He shouldn't have won the decision over Jacare. Another bad call by the judges, but those be damned. And then a failed drug test where it was the supplement's fault. Luck has worked out for Yoel Romero. Michael Bisping says, look at Yoel Romero. He's definitely been on steroids, and Bisping says that he's done some research that has led him to believe that even though Romero, through USADA, is off the steroids, that the positive effects could still linger in his body for quite some time. So on that scientific thought, he would not agree to face Romero. That may work in this instance where, say, Romero does beat Weidman. If he says he's going to fight Jacare, awesome. That makes sense. I approve of that message. And that would be a great fight. But following that, where you look at the placement of the middleweight division, well, Romero, say he beats Weidman. Was there an acceptable fight for him to have after that? Oh yeah, there's a Gegard Mousasi. There's the winner of Robert Whittaker and Derek Brunson. Could be a heated rematch right there. There's also Luke Rockhold. But if he wins that UFC 205 and then wins his next contest after that, it's a hard argument to make at 9-0. Even with 3 notable asterisks on the side, to not award Yoel Romero a title shot at that point. I think he is closing in on it sooner than Michael Bisping would want. So we know what's in the future for Bisping. A Chris Weidman or a Jacare Souza, and I believe that's where that's going. Now we also have the curious case and the interestingness of what's going on at 135 pounds, because slowly creeping up the rankings, Cody Garbrandt 5-0 inside of the octagon. He's getting his title shot at UFC 207, December 30th, Las Vegas, closing out the year, taking on arch rival now Dominic Cruz, who's beat up, as he fondly likes to call the team that Garbrandt is with, Team Alpha Fail. Well, Cruz earlier this week talked about why you're going to have this fight instead of him perhaps taking on a TJ Dillashaw. Dillashaw on the same card will be taking on John Lineker. It was Cruz who defeated Dillashaw via the split decision to again become the bantamweight champion. A close decision. The former champion who had already defended the title, there was an argument for a rematch. But for a fight that didn't do spectacular ratings as a free card on FS1, I think that hurt Dillashaw's case. Then Dillashaw did have a verbal war of words going on, but it was with his former team. It was with Uriah Faber. So that's where the money fight became for Dillashaw. He lost out on the chance for Cruz because Cody Garbrandt was able to capitalize and trash talk with Cruz. We all remember the moment when Cruz was talking shit back to Garbrandt after his win in the prelims at UFC 199. Garbrandt has capitalized on big wins in big spots in a main event and on a pay-per-view card. He has gone under Cruz's skin, created hype, created publicity, which in turn is going to create revenue, pay-per-view buys, interest in the fight, and Cruz is already in following suit with a lot of the fighters like Michael Bisping. I don't necessarily want the toughest guy in the world. I don't necessarily want the most deserving challenger. You're right. I want the biggest ratings, the biggest payday, and the most entertaining challenger for the fans. What the fans want, what the fans will buy is what we should do. A la that leads to the young, up-and-coming knockout artist, Cody Garbrandt, getting his title shot. Thankfully, again though, Garbrandt on the short list of challengers who does have credibility in the bantamweight division right now. Garbrandt 5-0, making these big wins. That's a good spot for him to get this title shot. But you're looking at him at just the number 6 ranked fighter. Above him, you do have Brian Caraway. Caraway, though, only won, I believe he's 4-2 in his last 6. 2 wins, a loss, 2 wins, a loss. Great competition, but has not been able to put together any fan love or real anticipation to see him get that title fight. Jimmy Rivera is even ahead of him at number 4 ranked, but Rivera still kind of an unknown. 3 decision victories, even though he did have a spectacular fight in defeating Uriah Faber and cementing his place as a top bantamweight. I don't think he did it in dramatic enough fashion to earn a title shot, but he is close and in that hunt. He just needs to make more of a name. Rafael Sunsao obviously losing the decision to Dillashaw. It just strengthened Dillashaw's case, but it didn't make it loud enough, as Dillashaw and Sunsao at UFC 200 has now been a fight that's kind of left in the rear view, overthought. It was just a quick point fighting fight. Even though Dillashaw did win, he can earn his title fight, though. As we said, he is in action also at UFC 207, taking on John Lineker. John Lineker with a 6-fight win streak, I believe. His wins and his performances inside the octagon have validated a man that deserves to be a UFC title contender. But his problems on the scale is what has limited him. It's forced him to leave lightweight. He's forced him to leave flyweight, and now going up from 125 to 135 to bantamweight. He's still shown some problems on the scale, which is quite disturbing. And he could have had a title shot at either weight class if he can just manage his weight cut or his conditioning or what some process in there is missing. But on the scale, John Lineker has cost himself, and which is now helping Dillashaw and actually even help Garbrandt get to his title shot. That's where we're going on, and that's some interesting facts. Now we're able to transition over, and we're going to transition over, in the show, and thank you to Damage Control, one of our great sponsors. You stay in control, you stay safe, you keep your mouth intact with a Damage Control mouthguard, and we're going to transition over now to our local scene, the CageMinds.com local scene. Get you guys updated on what happened this past weekend. On some sad notes, we got a report, decision lost, unsuccessful in his pro debut that we told you about was going to happen last week. Marquis Smith not coming home with the goal, losing a unanimous decision. Steven Cervantes, both men, I know they're going to get back in the gym and they will come back stronger. Congratulations, though, with an armbar, I believe, in the first round. Paco Castillo got a victory at the Battle in Boot Hill, retains his bantamweight title. This weekend, up and coming, Kevin Kroom will be in Tokyo, Japan for Shuto. You can check that out. UFC Fight Pass, we already mentioned and thanked, and we'll do it one more time. Ron Baca is going to be out in Denver, Colorado boxing, looking to become the first New Mexico boxing heavyweight champion. I also believe that Red Spider MMA and Boxing's Randy McCarty is going to be in action on that card. November 19th, remember it, Art of War, MMA, Omar Acosta, Cedric James, also Harvey Park in the main event. That is Clovis, New Mexico, Force of One, Art of War, MMA down there. November 26th, King of the Cage, Duke City, Embassy Suites with Johnny Guillen and Tim Sosa for the King of the Cage Junior Flyweight World title. Brenda Boom Boom Gonzalez on the card, and Randy McCarty versus Anthony Rosama. Also on that main card, going to be a great night of action. December 3rd, sadly too much action to keep track of, as at the Buffalo Thunder Resort and Casino, you'll see the Jacksons Mixed Martial Arts Series number 20, Sonny Yon and Josh Moreno in the main event, with the co-main event, the return of the Sanai Warrior, Angelo Sanchez, taking on a Muay Thai veteran, only a 500 fighter so far in MMA, but a dangerous Muay Thai striker, Dave Hale. And down the road at the Camel Rock Casino, Tony Valdez, the Sanchez brothers, Joaquin Zamora, Angelo Leo, New Mexico's top contenders, Legacy Boxing presents. That's again at Camel Rock Hotel and Casino. CageMinds.com, the place to check out a whole lot of news, interviews, keep up with the local and national scene. Again, we got to thank our sponsors, the Fight Shop New Mexico, Damage Control, and international strategic partners. This has been the DC Life Uncensored.